I think people bother with it because I think it's something that people push to the back of their mind. It's never going to happen to them, and I think that people don't talk enough about it in case it does happen. So, I think that it's when it happens people then start talking about it. It's not before.
Not before you're ready, kind of thing.
That's right. Yeah.
Do you think we should make an effort then to start that conversation so we do what the patient wants?
I think so. Yeah. I think that in the end, with senile dementia and things like that, the patient doesn't know what they really want in one respect. So I think that the talking should be in a general talk with the population all the time, really.
I think conversations about dying, which are strange conversations to have, should be part of generally all medical conversations, or even generally about how people are. Because I don't know whether you can wait until it's at the point where someone's really ill. I think they need to know beforehand.
Clear idea and help
Yeah.
articulate that, I suppose.
Yeah.
I would think as soon as they actually start getting bad to the stage where it's going to be life-threatening, if you know like 6 months in advance that you're going to die, then obviously you want to decide where you're going to die.
Yeah.
As for hospitals, are very clinical. A lot of people prefer to die at home.
There's more dignity at home, isn't there? You've got your surroundings
and you've got your friends and family there all the time then,
So is it about us giving people the confidence to have that conversation as well? Because it's a difficult subject, isn't it?
It is a very difficult subject, yes. I would say there's no easy way around it, really. You've just got to go in and see what they actually feel about it themselves.
Yeah. And who do you think should have that conversation? Do you think it should be a GP? Do you think it should be something that's...
A healthcare professional, but not a GP. Somebody who's more sensitive towards the person, the way they actually feel.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Because, a GP is okay, but, a lot of people take doctors with a pinch of salt, they say I've got 6 months to live, I'll probably die tomorrow.
Like, when do you think a doctor or the health service should start having that conversation with
patients?
patients?
They don't have a conversation with you now, do they?
Well, that's a good point. If they're not having a conversation, do you think they should?
No, I think so.
Do you think it's because it's embarrassing, or a bit kind of an awkward subject to tackle?
If you've got all these complaints, right, they should ask you how they're going on with them. They don't. They just ask you what they've gone in for, what they've gone there for. And they say, all right, and write it down. Away you go.
And give you a prescription. So you think that we should be having a conversation with people to find out if you're ill, do you actually go into hospital where you might be having a tube and a catheter and needles and be in that kind of environment, or whether you've got the support you need at home to
well, I think they leave people too late, before they find out what's wrong with them.
So start the conversation earlier then.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people around here prefer, with the reputation Russell Hall Hospital has got, to stay at home when it comes. I know my own family did, my mum and my dad, my grandmother, they all preferred to stay at home.
And did that happen for each of them, or did they end up in Russell's Hall?
They all ended up in Russell's Hall at various times. My grandmother did die down there, but my mum and dad died at home. And in fact they died in the same bed, in the same room. But there was only about 3.5 years difference.
And who had that conversation with them? How did you know what their wishes were?
Well, when they were taken in, they told us, you weren't fetching us home, ain't you? You weren't leaving us down there.
Yeah.
And we says, no, we'll bring you home. And that's what we did in the finish.
And did you have the support you needed for that to happen, like in dignity and anything that you might need?
Well, we did with my mum because she got cancer.
Yeah.
And we had Macmillan support and the White House.
Oh, yeah.
And they gave us a great deal of help.
Yeah.
And with Dad, it was emphysema.
Yeah.
And so it was heart failure that finished him.
Yeah.
It depends how circumstances are, if you've got somebody to look after you, don't you?
Yeah. Do you think if people did have the support they needed, even if they had like no close relatives or family members, that they would still prefer to die at home rather than...
I think definitely in home.
Yeah.
I think so.
And when do you think we should have the conversation with people? Because if we leave it too late and people are poorly, then they might not...
Make sure, I know what you mean,
Yeah.
and it brings it home if you think you're going to die, don't it? Very good, is it?
It's a scary
No,
conversation.
it's very, I
isn't it?
quite
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's a big thing to say because because I've got two sisters in hospital now at the moment, in
Oh,
homes. One
yeah.
at Prestwood and the
Okay.
other at the Cedars down Red Lake Road.
Oh, yeah.
And it's lovely homes,
Yeah.
one residential, but they've still got their own homes and they do anything to get back to
Yeah.
their own home. But they'd have,
It's
to
sad,
have
isn't
somebody
it?
there all the time. And if you've got to have nursing in all the while, it costs you a mint.
Well, it,
I just have had that conversation with my children. I have. I don't really know when or why. I just did. Because I want them to know what I want to happen at my funeral, I suppose.
yeah.
Because it's my funeral, isn't it?
It is. It's all
It's
about
all
you.
about me.
It is, isn't
It
it?
is, yeah.
So, do you think our GPs should be having a conversation with people earlier rather than people avoiding the conversation?
Possibly, yeah, I do. But it's it is a dodgy thing to
It's awkward.
yeah,
Yeah.
because some people might get offended. If you go to the doctor about something and then he starts talking to you about death, they might think that they're going to die from it.
When I'm old and ready to die, to tell you the truth, I wouldn't like to be kept alive. Like, what's it called now?
Euthanasia.
Euthanasia, that's the one, like. Crazy thinking of that, ain't it, really, like?
It is, yeah. Who knows what the future holds?
I know. No, it depends, though. I wouldn't want them just to kill me. If there's a chance I could live and be okay,
Yeah.
well, I don't think I'd like to live the rest of my life as like a
With no
yeah, with
functions
no
or anything,
yeah, with no functions. Yeah, definitely. I'd like to be able to go to the toilet myself.
Yeah. So it's about having
And I
this-
answer the phone and walk around. Not so much walk around, get my
quality of life.
grandchildren to push me around. So maybe I don't know.
Why not, yeah.
But yeah, I think quality of life more than anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like you says, not so much with tubes and everything coming out. Yeah, I wouldn't be like to be on life support.
Yeah.
Thinking if you're on life support for over I say 2 months.
So your wish would be to like die at home with the support you need.
And I'd like to
have
be
dignity.
buried.
Like to be buried. Okay.
I would like to be buried. I wouldn't like to be burnt. I'd like to be buried.
All right.
Let the worms have me.
Oh, I don't know. Before, you know.
Yeah, because a lot of
So
people
you've got to have an opinion really where you
want to be.
Yeah.
So
Some people, I would say, are probably quite scared of death. I'm not that bothered by the thought of it. Like, I'm pretty open to discussing it, and I know that at some point, obviously, it is going to come. So, rather it be talked about and you be knowledgeable about that stuff than completely leave it in the dark for
yeah. Do you
nothing
think
to
it's
happen.
an awkward conversation for lots of people to have?
For some people, yeah.
Yeah.
Depends kind of what your views on that kind of stuff are. I'm pretty open to discuss anything, so it's just a part of life at the end of the day. So I look at it like that, yeah.
Okay, lovely. What about yourself? Have you got a view on it or?
Yeah, same really.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty free to talk about.
I mean, when a doctor asks you if you're on your way out.
Yeah. I'd rather know there and then.
Yeah.
Myself, personally.
My personal views would be that I would talk to my GP for quite a long time, I would think, before I got to that stage where I couldn't make any decisions for myself, because I would like to happen to me what I would want it to be,
Yeah.
and not what someone else, actually thinks I would want. In fact, I've got most of mine all in order. My daughters know what I want. So I mean, but my GP is, I tell him as well. So
Yeah. Okay.
he's very understanding. So
That's lovely.
yeah, no problem.